So have you all been through the booklet? Did you go through the rules that I started in the last class?
Just a quick revision of the, I guess. Yeah, nothing much.
Were you able to follow the class, in the last class?
Not entirely, no. I just lost concentration after some time.
There are a lot of rules, that's why. Because as I mentioned, that you cannot memorize all the rules, and you can always take help from the booklet. So when you're writing your research paper, even one of the assessments will be writing another argumentative essay, and you have to use APA rules to give the reference list and intake citation. So you can always take help from the booklet. It's not that you can't actually memorize all of them. There's so many rules. But just keep in mind the basic format. So in the reference list, remember that author's last name followed by initial of first and middle name, the year of publication, and then if it's a book, then you provide the title of the book, followed by place of the publisher's name. If it's a online book, then you have to provide the website address as well. And for journal articles, author's name, year of publication, then title of the article, followed by name of the journal where the article was published, then volume number, issue number, page range. Okay, and if it's an online journal article, then if the DOY number is there, that is the digital identifier. If that number is there, then provide that. If not, then provide the website address. Okay, so we started going through the rules for the books because, as you can see, there are so many different types of sources, even if it's a book. So here these are printed. So it can be a basic format for books, as I have mentioned, that author followed by your title, and then the publisher's name. It can be a book with an editor, no author. So the editor's name comes first, year of publication, title of the work, and then the publisher's name. It can be one editor, or can be single editor, can be more than one editor. So in bracket, you have to write ED, capital ED, and then dot, and then close bracket. If there's more than one editor, capital ED, S, and then close the bracket. As I mentioned, there is a difference between editor and edition. So if the book is like second edition or third edition, then after the title of the book, then in bracket, write ED, small ED. Whatever is second edition, then second ED, third edition, then after the title of the book, write that and then close the bracket. So here, book with the editor, with the author and editor and author. Both the editor's name is given and also the author's name. So here the author's name comes first, year of publication, title of the book. After that, then the editor's name, and then the publisher's name of the publisher. Okay, so I also mentioned about the names. If the names are mentioned before year of publication, then it is the author's last name followed by initial of first and middle name. And any names that come after the year of publication, then the initial of first and middle name comes first, followed by the last name. So you have to keep in mind those rules as well. Sometimes the date of the original work is also mentioned. If that is the case, then put that at the end. Okay, sometimes you may be borrowing information from a translated work, then you write the author's name, that is, author is the author of the original work, author's name, followed by your publication, title of the work, it is the title of the book, and then in bracket write the translator's name, and also have to write trans, T-R-A-N-S, dot, and then close bracket, and then the publisher's name, and then in bracket after that, original work published in. So when was the original work published? Then, now at the beginning, the year of publication, this year of publication refers to the publication of the translation when it was translated, because you are borrowing information from the translated work. Okay, but the author's name is the author who actually wrote that book. So say a book has been written in Bangla. So author's name will be here. Year of publication refer to when the you borrowing a English translation, and then the name of the work, and then the translator's name will be here. Okay, so here I mentioned edition other than the first. I already mentioned this rule, the author's name, year of publication, title of the work. After that, in bracket, the edition. So here, it should be here. Here's an example. Second edition. You can see small ed dot, then close bracket. Okay. Also remember that when you are writing the name of the book, then when you type, it should be italicized, but when you handwrite, you just underline it. Same goes for name of the journals. If it's a journal article, magazine article, name of that journal where the article was published, or name of that magazine, name of the newspaper, anything original. If you type, it should be italicized. If you handwrite, it should be underlined. Even if it's like a movie, name of a movie, or a song album, anything like that, the original name is usually italicized. When you handwrite, you underline it. Okay, so here, rule number 1.5.6, this one, article or chapter in an edited book. In an edited book. So here you have an article or a chapter which is printed in a book. There's an editor's name is there as well. So there can be several chapters and you are borrowing information from one of those chapters, or it can be an article. So here there's several articles, kind of, we can say a compilation of several articles or chapters in a book. And in these type of books, there's always an editor. So say you're borrowing information from chapter 2. So whoever has written that chapter, author's name, then year of publication of that whole book, then title of that chapter, because since each of the chapters are written by different authors, it will have a different title of that chapter, then in the editor's name, or the editor's name, and then title of that book itself. So that should be capital letter at the beginning and italicized. Then page numbers here, because since you are borrowing information from a particular chapter or article, then provide the page numbers, then the publisher's name at the end. So here's an example. Armstrong, 2019, Gallery and Character. So this is the name of, probably it's the name of the article or chapter. And then the editor's name is given. And then the title of that book is A New Companion to Mallory. And it's actually the second edition, so edition name is also given. And then page range is given of that particular chapter or article. And then name of the publisher is D.S. Brewer. Okay. So you can see in this example, editor's name is given because this is an edited book. At the same time, this is also an edition, it's a second edition. So that is also given straight after the name of that book. Okay, here this is a multi-volume work. Same rules apply. After the name of the book, just write the volume number. Okay, just like edition, so edition number is given, volume number is also given, then publisher's name is given. So here it says, in this example, volume 8. Okay, other print source. So these are other types of printed sources. So if you're borrowing information from a dictionary, thesaurus, or encyclopedia, institution, organization name, year of publication, title of the entry, in whatever work it is, edition, page number, and then publisher's name. So here's an example, Merriam-Webster, Incorporated, year of publication, then the title of the entry, so it's like your, whatever the entry with a name or a word, whatever, you mentioned that, and then in it's a dictionary, and the edition name is given, page number is given, and then the publisher's name. So basically you can see that institution, organization name and the publisher's name is the same here, because this is a dictionary. It's not written by a single author, it's not mentioned here. Okay. The second example is actually name is given here. So entry in dictionary thesaurus with an individual author. So the first one, there's no individual author's name, it's the institution name. Second example, author is given, individual author's name is mentioned, and followed by the same rules. So if an individual author's name is given, then whoever has written that dictionary or thesaurus or encyclopedia, if that is not there, then name of the institution would probably be there. So whatever, you need to write, first you need to write something in the place of where the author's name should be. So if author's name is not given, then definitely you write the organization name. Okay, now this one may be useful, like dissertation, because you may find a lot of online dissertations, or it could be printed as well. Printed ones are usually, you know, in the libraries we find, because it could be a master's or a PhD thesis, dissertation, and it's usually unpublished. It can be published as well. Sometimes they are published, sometimes they're not published. But you can still borrow information, dissertations as well. Okay. Unpublished, there's both examples. It could be a published dissertation, could be unpublished. And you may come across all these things. This is very useful. I used a lot of these references for my own research. So, you know, when you see that someone has written a dissertation which is close to the topic that you are working on, and definitely you can borrow information from to write what type of document, what type of source it is. So name of the author, the year of publication. So this is master's dissertation, could be PhD as well. All right. So a name of the publication, title of the dissertation or thesis, then publication number. They would probably have a, since it's a published work, they will have a publication. You need to write whether it's a doctoral dissertation or master's thesis. The name of the institution awarding the degree, where that, which basically write the university name of the institution awarding the degree, name of the, and then database or archive. So basically, this one is referring to online. You will find a lot of online, master's or PhD dissertations, and definitely you can borrow from there, because these, when you write a thesis or dissertation, it goes under a lot of scrutiny. The supervisor, if it's published, definitely it's reviewed several times, and these are reliable sources. Okay, so here's an example. Name of the author given, year of publication 2012. Name of that dissertation is Networks of Communication in Emergency Medical Services. Publication number is given in bracket. Doctoral dissertation, Purdue University. Then ProQuest Dissertations Publishing is the name of the publishers who actually publish, database or archive name. If the dissertation thesis is not published, include the URL of the site. Okay. So here's the unpublished one. Name here. There's an example. So name, year of publication, year. This is unpublished. This means that when that, this is the submission date actually. When that dissertation was completed. Okay, and then name of that dissertation or thesis, then you have to write unpublished doctoral dissertation or unpublished master's thesis. You have to write that in square bracket. And then you write the name of the institution where that student had actually completed that, writing that dissertation or thesis. So this is also accepted, because even if it's an unpublished work, it does go through several layers of scrutiny, because supervisor checks the dissertation or thesis, and the student has to do a lot of revision and correction. And then usually for thesis or dissertations, there's also a viva as well. You asked a lot of questions, and then based on that viva, you may also have to do corrections as well. So that's why these type of work go through a lot of scrutiny and reviewing, and that's why you can borrow information from these works. They are reliable. Okay, but definitely you have to mention if it's published or if it's unpublished, you have to mention it. You can find these, if it's a library, so if anyone, NSU, in a normal situation, you'd probably find this, in the NSU library. If it's printed, sorry, not printed, if it's just done by a student, they will have a collection of these things in the library. But you can also get a lot of this online as well, and these are reliable. Okay, then next one is report by government agency organization. Okay. So rule is here, organization name, year, and title of the report. So any type of reports. So these are added rules actually. So here, United States Government Accountability Office, 2019, Performance and Accountability Report. Okay, so just give all the details there, and also the URL, the website address. Okay, so there's some more rules here. I'm going to skip this. Conference proceedings. This one may be useful when you attend a conference, someone reads out. So conference papers are also something that goes through some scrutiny when you read. And you can also borrow information from this. So last name of the presenters, conference proceedings. Sometimes, yeah, conference proceedings, they're printed as well. So they're published in journals. So that's why they're also reliable as well. So here the author's name, the editor's name is given here from that journal, year of publication, proceedings of the conference, title of the proceedings when it was held actually, and where is written here, and publisher, and also the URL, the website address. So here's an example. Okay, now we go to electronic source. These are the online ones, and you will be relying more on these electronic sources. So basically, it follows the same rules that we have gone through. The URL address, it's the website. It's also a page, if the page names are individual. Okay, so this is individual author for books. Same rules, name of author, initial, last name of the author, followed by initial or first or middle name. Then year, month, date. This must be a journal, sorry, it could be a magazine. The title of the page and site. Okay. Yeah, so if you are borrowing anything from online, so just follow this rule. Name of the author, which is given, then the year of publication, the month and date is given, name of that article, title of the page, and then the website address. If the source was written by a group organization, same thing. Name of that group organization, then year, and title. Actually, it's a title. It shouldn't be title of page. Title of that article, whatever you're borrowing, and then the URL address. So simple rule you can see. Name of the author, organization, followed by year of publication, then title of that article, and then provide the website address. And you will be borrowing a lot of sources like that. Now, you may come across articles if the page's author is not mentioned. Start with the title instead. Additionally, include retrieval date when the page content is likely to change over time. Okay, so when that means the author's name is not there, then start with the title of that page, whatever title it was, then year of publication, and then site name, where it was cited from, and then retrieved from their website address. Again, and if the year of publication, date of publication is not mentioned, then you have to write in bracket n.d. That means no date. So this is important. You may come across many of these type of articles as well. The exact date of publication is not mentioned, though in this case, write n.d. Okay, and the rest of the rule is the same. Okay, now this is also new. Wikipedia article. Normally, I advise students not to borrow information from Wikipedia. because it's not written by any single author. You know, it's often updated, says here, Wikipedia articles often updated frequently. For this reason, the date refers to the date that the cited version of the page was published. So you must link to the archived version of the page rather than the current version of the page on the site, since the latter can change over time. Access the archived version by clicking View History, then clicking the date timestamp of the version you'd like to cite. Okay. So it's better that if you could avoid Wikipedia articles altogether, because we use Wikipedia to get some basic information, but since it's updated frequently, it's not written by a single author, it's better to actually avoid it. That's what I say. What you can do is, in Wikipedia articles, if you scroll down, you always get a reference list where information was borrowed from. So you can go there. You can go there and try to look for the original articles where the information was borrowed from. So it's better to do that. I would just advise trying to avoid Wikipedia altogether. But anyway, if you do, then follow this rule. Okay, now newspaper article. Same rules apply for newspaper. Last name of the author, year, month and date, title of the article, title of the publication, and then URL. So online address must be given. See, this is a simple rule. Electronic of Kindle books. Same rules apply for electronic books, only just give the URL address. Now, we also get like audio books nowadays. So here's a rule for that. Last name of the author, year of publication, title of the book. Here there's a narrator, and then audio book, you write audio book, e-book. Title of the book in bracket, write e-book. So there are three different versions. The first one is a normal one, title of the book, the name of the publisher, URL address. Then if it's an e-book, write in bracket, e-book. If there's a narrator involved, I write the narrator's name and also audio book. So different types of books nowadays. Okay. Dissertation, well, I already actually discussed that. If it's a printed, if it's an online one, dissertation, if it's a published one, publication number will be given there. Doctoral thesis or master's thesis, name of the institution, database name. Okay, so basically the same rules apply for printed and online. For online, you just provide the URL address. That's the only thing that you need to add. Okay, so clear, everyone? So I'm going to scroll down. Here's an interesting one, online lecture notes and presentation slides. So these are new actually. So even if you want to borrow information from online lectures and presentation slides, you still have to document the source here, because again, you're borrowing information. So here you can see, when citing online lecture notes, be sure to provide the file format in brackets after the lecture title. So if it's a PowerPoint slide or Word document. So yeah, because often lecturers would use this type of notes to provide lectures. So if you borrow information from there, you still have to provide the source information. So last name of the author, last name, year, month, date, title of the presentation, lecture notes, what type of lecture notes, PowerPoint slides, etc. Then publisher. Okay. You might get these online as well, actually. You might get these lecture notes online. So if you borrow information from there, you also have to provide the source. Okay, so here's an example. So slide, PowerPoint slides here, slide share, and then the URL address. So yes, online you do come across lecture notes and presentation slides. So you need to provide the source information. And there's computer software, downloaded software for that. Even email is given. If you're borrowing information from a certain email, it depends on the area of research that you're doing. And if you think that it's important to provide information from email, even that is given. So here, last name, personal communication. All right. This is the format that you follow. Here you can see that the name is reversed. So initial of the first name followed by last name. Then you have to write personal communication, what type of communication it is. So here you write email, and then the date, the month, date, and year even. No example given. Here, these are the extra ones. Tweet, if we're following information from a tweet. Last name. Okay. Name, last name followed by initial or name of the group. And then cursor name. And year, month, and date. Content of the post up to the first 20 words, that's the tweet, and then site name. So here's an example. So so these, you can see that if you were borrowing information from a tweet, probably they'll be by prominent people. So this is an example of Obama. So Obama, then the cursor name, Barack Obama, and then the year, month, and date, and the tweet says content of the post up to the first 20 words. So you can write content up to the first 20 words. And then in brackets, that's the tweet, then Twitter, that's the account, and then the URL address. Things that have been added. Borrowing information from our content post of 20 words and site name and URL. If the Facebook post includes information in bracket after the content description. Okay. So please go through the coding. Follow these examples if you want to borrow information from these type of sources as well. Okay, also Instagram. Then there's blog. Normally, I would also tell you avoid information from personal blogs because if they're personal things, they're not much reliable. But here, according to these have been included as well. But of course, if you are borrowing information from personal blog posts, definitely you should make the source information. So here you can see last name of the author, year, month, date, title of the post, publisher, the URL address. You have to follow this format. Now, this may be important, YouTube video. So last name of the author, username, month, year, month, and date, title of the video, and in bracket, right, streaming service and URL. So here, example is given. Okay, so this may be useful if you do happen to borrow information from a person or group who uploaded the video is considered the author. Okay, so when you write the author, who is it? The person or group who uploaded the video, you can omit the username. Okay, so here it's an example. So person group uploaded the video, name comes first, then the year, month, and date, name of that video, then in bracket right, it's video, it's YouTube, and then the URL address. And there's a rule for TED Talk as well. These are online speeches which are given. So here's the rule that you follow. Okay, audio visual, so film or video. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this now, but just follow this. If it's a film or video, you need to write the director's name, and then in bracket write direct, date of the publication, title of the motion picture,
ম্যাডাম কি চলে গেল নাকি?
I think she has a net problem maybe.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, were you able to hear what I explained all this time?
No, miss. Last time.
So, how long was it?
Like 2-3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Because I've been explaining number of rules. Yeah, so I am having some online issues. Okay, so I was here on this page. I was explaining, you can borrow information from YouTube. So follow this format here. Can you all hear me?
Yes, miss.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So if it's a YouTube video, then you write the name. Here, name is the person or group who uploaded the video is considered the author. So that name comes here, then username, then year, month, and date, title of the video in bracket write video, and streaming service, and the URL address. So here's an example here. And it says that the person or group who uploaded the video is considered the author if the author's name is the same as the username, then you can omit the username. So here's an example for that. And then here, TED Talk is also mentioned. If you, these are speeches given online, just follow this format. And then here is audiovisual media. So if you're borrowing information from film or video, then the director's name is given, then date of the publication, probably the date when the film or video came out, like that. Title of the motion picture, and then name of the company. So in books, you write the name of the publisher's name, but here is the production company's name. So here I can say Lloyd Pete, that's a director. 2008, that's when the film actually came out. Mamma Mia is the name of that film, and bracket Wright film, and then the production company is Universal Pictures. Okay, then film or video in another language. So same rules applied, and after the name of that title of the motion picture, just write translated, and then also write film. So here's the example given. With TV series, follow these examples here. So I won't go through all of them. Please just follow the format. Try to follow as much as possible. The in-text citation. Okay, there's another one, music album. Recording artist, year of release, title of the album, and then the record label. So here, recording artist is given here, then year of release when it came out, title of the album, I am easy to find, and in square bracket write album, and then the record label is given. Song, single song or track in an album. So recording artist, year of release, then title of the song, and then the name of the album where the song came out, and then the record label. So it's given here. There's also a rule for podcast if you're borrowing information from there. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. So as you can see, there are so many rules. It's not possible to go through all of them. So in your spare time, please go through all the rules. Basically, when you start writing your research paper, when I give back the research proposal with the feedback, you can actually start reading different articles and actually start writing. You can write the introduction and background section, and you'll be borrowing information from sources. So based on that, just follow this booklet and provide the reference list. Okay, now in-text citation. This is, remember that when you provide the source documentation, as I mentioned, there are two ways. The two include, one is the reference list at the end of your writing. You have to organize it in an alphabetical order based on the last author's first name. So you organize according to that. And the reference list has all the details. And you also have to provide in-text citation, which is the short form of documenting the source in order you're writing. Citation a lot, especially when you write the introduction section and the section. So here are the basic rules given for in-text citations. This one is much more simpler. Very simple. Follow a simple rule that last name of the author. In citation, you do not have to provide the initial of the first and middle name. It's only the last name of the authors, or year of publication, and a page number is given. If you're paraphrasing or if you're quoting from the source, then page number is a must. If you summarize several pages, then page number is not always required, but it's up to you. You can provide the page number. So that is the basic, simple format that you follow for the citation. So here give written here. Once you have added an entry in your reference list, write in-text citation. So for that, you must list the author's last name and reference list. So every time, basically, you are referring to if you are referring to an idea from another work, but not directly quoting the material or making reference to an entire book, article, or other work, you only have to make reference to the author or your publication, author and your publication, and not the page number in your in-text reference. On the other hand, if you are directly quoting or borrowing from another work, you should include the page number at the end. Okay. So definitely, it's a direct. So this one, if you are not directly quoting, you have found another source. There's a
কেউ কি কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
না
না ভাই,
hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm losing connection. So I have started the in-text citation. Did you hear some of the rules that I was talking about? Okay, when you provide in-text citation, that is the short form of documenting source in the body of your writing, and this is a must. You have to provide in-text citation as well as the reference list at the end. Are you all following?
Yes, ma'am.
So as I mentioned, the basic rule for in-text citation is last name of the author, followed by year of publication and page number. If you are quoting, provide page number, you must. If you are paraphrasing, you must provide the page number as well. But if you're summarizing, then you don't always have to provide page number, especially if it's, you're summarizing several pages. Okay. Now, I also mentioned that for when you provide the last name of the author, only the last name of the author or authors are important, but initial of first and middle name is not required in text citation, right? So you do not provide the initial of first and middle name when you provide the in-text citation. So that's the basic format: last name of the author or authors, year of publication, and page number. These three information are a must for in-text citation. And as I mentioned earlier, that there are two ways of providing this. You can write it directly, or you can provide signal phrases. So it's a signal and non-signal phrases. So for in-text citation, we must use either signal or non-signal method. In short, a signal phrase is the author's name present in the sentence, and non-signal is when it is absent. So if you use a signal phrase in the sentence, there is no need to repeat the author's name again in the citation. The following section will provide. So if you're providing a signal phrase, it means that you say, like, according to so-and-so. So if the author's name is Jones, according to Jones, or Jones explained that. So after the author's name, Jones explained, Jones asserted. After you write the author's name in bracket, provide the year of publication. And then after you paraphrase or quote, at the end in bracket, write the page number. Now, if you're not using signal phrases, or that is non-signal phrases, you are directly quoting or paraphrasing, then after the end of the quotation or end of the paraphrase, in bracket, provide the last name of the author, comma, year of publication, comma, page number. So in in-text citation, you must write P. If it's a single page, P dot page number. If it's more than one page, then PP dot page range, page number. So here are the examples. Short quotations. If you're directly quoting from the work, you will need to include the author, your publication, page number. So preceded by P for signal page. So it's a short quotation. So here is mentioned, signal phrases come in various forms. The most common ones are argued, believed, claimed, illustrated, pointed out. According to is also the suggested, all these, like, so according to Jones, here, as I mentioned, according to Jones, in bracket, year of publication, then quotation is given here. In quotation marks, students often had difficulty using APA style, especially when it was their first time. So this is direct words from the original source. And then close quotation mark, then in bracket, page number, P dot 199, close bracket. So remember, this bracket is the round bracket that you're using. Okay. Another example, Jones, 1998, found, and then quotation, page number, and then the writer continues with his or her own words. Okay, so you can also write it like this. So you must follow these APA rules in your writing, especially in the introduction and background section of your research paper. Later on, I will give you a list of all the sections that should be included in your research paper. Also, as I mentioned, that I'll be taking a second assessment, another essay, argumentative essay, and I'll give you some website addresses where you have to borrow information from, and you have to provide in-text citation as well as the reference list. Okay, here are some more examples of signal phrases. Jones argues that, quotation, page number at the end. So, all these examples. Okay.
Ma'am, in-text citations are only for books and journal articles, right?
No, anything, any source. Can be any source. It can be all the things that we went through, journal articles, magazines, newspapers, even if it's a video, anything, the same format is used. The author's name followed by year of publication, or even if it's a film, movie, when it came out, that date is given. And for those, of course, the page number is not required. But these are examples of journal articles and books. So forward. All right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so if you're not using signal phrase, then this is what it is. You just directly, quote or paraphrase, and at the end you provide the source information all in one bracket. So Jones, comma, your page P.199, then close bracket. Okay, so these were for short quotations. Now there's another rule for long quotations. Place direct quotations that are 40 words or longer in a block of typewritten lines and omit quotation marks. So start the quotation on a new line, indented ½ inch from the left. Okay, so in the same place you begin the paraphrase. So if if the quotation is 40 words or longer, then you need to set it off like this. Here's an example. So you see, you have to indent. The indent means you have to leave some space from the left-hand margin, like this. So you can see all this is a quotation. In long quotation, you do not provide the quotation marks, but you set it off like this, indent from the left-hand side, and then at the end provide at the beginning you need to provide the author's name. So here, Jones, 1998, study found the following, and then you quote, and then page number at the end. Quotations from sources without page numbers. In this case, you just provide the paragraph number. So page number is not given, then you write the author's name, last name, followed by year of publication, then try to provide the paragraph number if you have paraphrased anything or quote. Okay. So these are electronic sources. Sometimes the electronic sources you may not find the page number. Here it says paragraph. You don't have to provide the page or paragraph number, but when you paraphrase, it's better to provide the page number anyway, summary. Quotation, definitely provide the page number. Paraphrasing, say you do not need to provide page and paragraph numbers if it's summaries or paraphrase. But it's always better to provide page number. Because when someone reads it and they want to check it out, they're interested, they want to check it out, then if you provide page number, it becomes easier for them to locate. Okay, now there are some rules. If it's by a single author, 2 authors, 3 authors, single author, those are the examples above. Now if it's 2 author, name both authors in the signal phrase or in the parenthesis each time you cite the work. Use the word "and" between the author's name within the text and use ampersand in parentheses. I mentioned this before. So if you're using signal phrase, here it says research by Wegner and Petty. So when you use signal phrase, according to Wegner and Petty, that's when you provide the name of the authors in the body of the text, you write A and D and. then in bracket your publication supports that paraphrase quote or so. But if you're directly quoting or paraphrasing, then in the bracket at the end, you write their names, Vajana and Petty, comma, your publication. You can see that the ampersand has been used. That is the short form of and. So both these are included in the APA rules. So you need to follow this. So when you're using signal phrase, then you write and, but if it's in the bracket, you provide information, then you just use the ampersand. So this is for 2 authors. Now, a work by 3 or more authors, what it is. If it's work by 3 or more authors, please remember this rule. List only the first author's name followed by et al. In every citation, even the first, unless doing so would create ambiguity between different sources. So if it's work by 3 or more authors, if it's 2, then you have to say and. But if it's 3 or more authors, then you write the first author's last name followed by et al., then your publication. So this is in bracket. So you paraphrase, quote, or summarize, and at the end, you write this. Kernis et al. Et al. After that is dot, then comma, your publication. If you're using a signal phrase, then Kernis et al. Then in bracket, your publication suggested that, or suggests that, or reported that. So this is important. There are different rules. You would see that reference list has a different rule for more than one author, more than 2 authors, and in-text citation has a different rule as well. Because in the reference list, we notice that you have to list up to 20 authors' name. But in the in-text citation, you do not provide all those. If it's just more than 3 or more, then first author's last name followed by et al. That's the rule, right? So as I mentioned before, that first author's last name is really important. And if there are several authors, you never change the order of the names, just leave it as it is. So clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now here it says that if you're citing multiple works with similar groups of authors and the shortened et al. Citation form of each source would be the same, you need to avoid ambiguity by writing out more names, all right? So I said if you're citing multiple works with similar groups of authors, yeah, in that case, you have to provide the names to avoid ambiguity. So, sometimes articles are written by several authors and some of the names are kind of similar. In that case, in order to avoid, and they've also been published in the same year, you can see. So the first group is like this: Jones, Smith, Lewis, Huang, and Kim. Second group is Jones, Smith, Rios, Wang, and Stanton, and your publication is the same. So if you were to write Jones et al. 2020, the second one would be the same thing, Jones et al. 2020. But you can see that the co-authors, the last 3 co-authors are actually different. So in this case, you'd have to provide more names. Like here you can see Jones, Smith, Louis et al. Jones, Smith, Ruiz et al. Right, so you have to provide more names in order to avoid ambiguity. Is this clear, everyone? As you can see, your publication is the same, and the first author is also the same, but after that, the other authors are different. So to avoid ambiguity, you just provide more names. Otherwise, you could have just written Jones et al. 2020, but the other article is the same thing with different authors. If it's an unknown author, Then this is the rule. If the work does not have an author, cite the source by its title in the signal phrase or the first word or two in the parenthesis. Okay, this is important. Titles of books and reports are italicized. All right, so if there's no author's name mentioned here, then you need to provide like use the first word or two of the title of that article in the parentheses. Okay, title of books and reports are italicized. Okay. Okay, so here is an example. So a similar study was done of students learning to format research papers. So it's like you can paraphrase or quote, and then in bracket, like using citation. This is actually the first two names of the title of that article or book, because the author's name is not there. Only the first two words are given here, first word or two words, and then put it in quotation mark, comma, then year of publication. Okay, this comma should be after the quotation. Right, so I'm going to stop here. There are a few more rules for in-text citation. We will go through these rules in the next class, and then I'm going to give you one file where we can do some practice on both the in-text citation and reference list. So we'll do a little bit of practice, and then I can take a quiz on this, quiz on APA. So the quiz on APA is very important. It will show whether you've actually understood the rules or not, right? So we'll do this on Sunday. We'll complete this and do some practice session. So clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? Okay, so I'm going to call out your names now. So you can see the APA rules is not something fun or interesting, but it is something very important that you have to provide in an academic report. Okay, so respond to your names. Khandakar Akhtar Hamid,
Yes, ma'am.
Anik Bishwas Joy,
Yes, ma'am.
Marufa Jaman, Lovely Khatun,
Present, Miss.
Lovely Khatun.
Present, Miss.
And then Faria Kader,
Present, Miss.
then Mohammed Ashraful Haq,
Present, Miss.
Dubair Ahmed,
Present, Miss.
Abu Bakr Siddiq, Mithila Farjana,
Present, Miss.
Abdul Qayyum, Zubair Ahmed here, Mithila Farjana, present.
Miss Jubair, present, Miss.
Yeah,
Yes, Miss.
Abdul Qayyum, then Tanaf Ashif Jamal,
Present, ma'am.
Shabab Farooq, Rafi Rezwan,
Yes, Miss.
Ibn Sina Bhuya,
Present, ma'am.
Taslima Jahan, Ali Yusuf Alvi,
Present, ma'am.
Abdul Muhaimin,
Present, Miss.
Rapsa Ryan,
Present, Miss.
Abdullah Al Masood,
Yes, ma'am.
Ahmed Jubair Rubail,
Present, ma'am.
Jannatul Ferdowsi,
Present, ma'am.
Mugdhamoni,
Present, ma'am.
Navid Naim, Navid Naim,
Chacha লিখেছে।
Protasha Mahmood, Protasha Mahmood,
Mr. লিখছে
Ridwanul Haq, Sharaf Anjum, Sharaf Anjum, Nasif Ali,
Present, ma'am.
Kaji Sadi Ahmed, Kaji Sadi Ahmed, Jareen Anjum Tahia,
Present, Miss.
Faizan Mohammed Rahman,
Present, ma'am.
Sumaya Shahid, Sumaya Shahid,
Present, Miss.
Mohammed Samin Ibn Amin,
Present, Miss.
Mohammed Farhan Ahmed, Farhan, Maruf Mahmood, Maruf Mahmood,
Present, ma'am.
Samrin Alam,
Present, Miss.
Saad bin Rahman,
Present, Miss.
Tehsina Haq,
Present, Miss.
Mohammed Mohaimin Rasul,
Present, miss.
and Syed Amar Mahmood.
Present, Miss.
Okay, so let me just call out the names who did not respond. Marufa Jaman, Abdul Qayyum, Shabab Farooq.
Ma'am, I'm present. Sorry, I missed it.
What's your name?
Shabab Farooq, Miss.
Shabab Farooq. Then Taslima Jahan. Then Sharaf Anjum Prabha. Sharaf Anjum Prabha. Then Kaji Sadi Ahmed. Okay, so that's it.
Ma'am, is Abu Bakr Siddiq present? He said his Wi-Fi is gone. That's why he couldn't make it.
Yeah, I think I've given him.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, so thank you everyone. I'll see you again on Sunday.
Assalamualaikum, ma'am.
Thanks.